Welcome to Summon Your Superhuman. Today, I have a guest coming to us all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Her name is Gina Mateychick. Although if you read the pronunciation, Australians, I'm pretty sure you're going to read that a totally different way, but we won't go there. Gina is a mindset and lifestyle coach. She's a speaker. She's a certified behavioral analyst with John Maxwell team. And she is basically all about bold confidence. She's got a podcast called Bold Confidence, a program, a Facebook group. Like, if you want to find her, Bold Confidence is how you find her. And you can probably understand why I wanted to connect with this Wonder Woman today. So it was just a matter of time. Welcome to the show, Gina.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
I mean, we connected about a year ago, but we haven't really had a chance to chat. And even before hitting record, I think we've already been speaking for about a good half an hour. So we thought, we might as well start recording this conversation.
Absolutely. We've definitely been cheering each other on through COVID, through our lifestyle. It's been so much fun cheering you on. I love it. I love what you do. It's awesome.
Well, I love what you do. And I love the fact that you are all about women empowerment. And in particularly the women that you work with being fabulous and 50 yourself. Not that I like to, age is no barrier here, but you did it your first competition at 50, which I thought I was cheering for you all the way from Australia. Like, I was like, oh, Gina.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a eye-opening for me too, to be 50 and to do a bikini competition. I don't know who in their right mind decides to do their first bikini competition at 50, but I was turning 48 and I just had this vision of what the hell would it look like to have my best body at 50 years old and have the best mind and body is where I was leading to. And I thought, you know what? I wonder what that looks like. And I'm like, well, Gina, either you can keep wondering or you can do something about it. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, hell, I think I just challenged myself.
I love it. I mean, you're a big proponent of mindset as much as I am. And you touched upon there, something around 48 happened for you. There was, there usually is some things break down before things build back up. So I'm suspecting that at 48, something broke down for you that was that moment that you wanted to rebuild a new Gina.
Oh, totally. I mean, there's been all sorts of breakdowns in my life, and it wasn't until I was about 48 that I realized, what are you going to do with this breakdown? I was suddenly faced, in a relationship. I was married with my husband for, at the time, about 7 years, and we were together 5 years prior to that. And he told me to get the hell out of his house, and I left his house with my 3 boys and filed for divorce. And during that breakdown, had you told me that there would have been a breakthrough and I would have become a bikini competitor and a mindset coach and, hosted all these events for women, I probably would have laughed at you. I did not see this coming, but I'm glad that it did. My marriage is healed now. We kind of touched on that earlier. The marriage took 2 years to heal, but it was a decision that we both decided that we chose hard. But with his personal issues as a grown man, realizing he's never, I stutter saying it because it's not shameful for him. I feel bad for him, but I didn't get back together because I felt bad for him. But he was sexually abused by a family member when he was a little boy, and it happened for about 6 or 7 years repeatedly. And he never voiced that. I had a lot of issues with men and my parents divorcing and my dad leaving us at 8 years old, remarrying somebody. And, that's fine for him. But for me at 8 years old, when you divorce my mom and remarry, there's going to be some daddy issues. And so ever since that, I've carried a lot of baggage of not trusting men. But my husband and I decided to work on ourselves individually. But during those 2 years, it was 2019 when our marriage was healing, and I came to a fork in the road with myself mentally. And I was like, Gina, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? I don't want to depend on a man anymore. I don't want to depend on anybody, outside sources. I didn't really even want to be a corporate worker anymore. I wanted to be my own boss. And I'm like, well, what the hell are you going to do about it? Are you going to actually take the road that's hard and, you know, turn your fear into fear of regret? Because I lived in fear of failure. What if I fail? What if this doesn't work out for me? But I just took it as, I made sure that my fear of regret was greater than my fear of the failure. So I chose that route of getting uncomfortable. And that's what happened at 48. And it took me a couple of years, but I knew if I just followed the plan and did the plan. I was so curious, Ria. I was so curious on what that 50 would look like. And it could be, you know, any age for anybody else. It doesn't have to be wait till you're 48. But for me, it just happened to be letting go of all the shitty committee, basically, and the bully within me at 48. And I just decided it was my time. So that was kind of the breakdown and the pivoting point for me, was that breakdown with my husband. We have an incredible marriage now. It's surprising, but it's not surprising. We've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been a major transformation, mind and body. It kind of blows my mind. But I think there's so much power into making a decision, and even then getting really clear on why you're wanting to do this. And I think that's what motivated me to change my body and to change my mind, and not to be skinny or not to be 25. I wanted people to go, damn, Gina, what the hell happened? Look at you. I mean, I really wanted, not that I wanted accolades, but I just wanted it to be so impactful that people knew if she can do it, I can do it too. Because at 48 years old, you know a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people, friends and people you come across. And I just knew if I could do it, other people could feel that they could do it too. And I wanted to help other people feel they weren't alone. They could do it.
And you're helping and inspiring so many more people. And I love that there's this new standard of what 50 looks like nowadays, you know, with yourself, Shakira, J-Lo, like all of these fabulous.
Yes, put me in that category. Yes.
Absolutely. Why not? And I always joke to my clients who are around that, you know, this age bracket, and they're like, oh, Ria, I'm getting older. And I'm like, no way, you're only halfway there. Like, you're opening up a new chapter. And I love exactly so many things that you said there about your story. And thank you so much for sharing that with us, because there, the details of things that happen in our lives that we suppress, you know, and at some point we need to unpack it, and we need to like sort through the luggage and create little compartments, and just really acknowledge what the things have happened in our lives that have made us who we are, you know. And if and the fact that you and your husband, you know, had that time apart to really do that, like, kudos to you guys, and congratulations for being able to connect back together, because it is rare. You know, you say you chose hard, but hard is a challenge, but it's also the most rewarding, you know, if we learned anything about that. And the fact that you both had your time to do you know, eat your own, and then come together like that, like that's a successful achievement in itself.
Oh, thank you. It was tough, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
Uh-huh.
I liked what you said about unpacking. I talk about that a lot in my program, where we ultimately can't be the best version of ourselves moving forward if we keep looking back and we keep holding on to that baggage. I always give my clients a visual of the backpack and the trauma that's in one case, and then, I personally had tried to attempt suicide when I was 14 years old. So I carried that within me for all these years till I was 48. And, I had a lot of anger that was in my backpack. My parents divorced when I was 8, and how dare my dad leave us for another woman. And now he's got this other family with this woman with 2 other children. And, it's like I carried that baggage on top of, bad choices with men and just everything, just the baggage and anger, a lot of anger. And, if, like you were saying, like, I can't be the best version that I needed to be at 50. I couldn't have become a bikini competitor, which I was probably like everybody else on here that's not a bikini competitor and that's 48 or 50 going, hell no, there's no way I'm going to do that. Well, that was me. I said those words, but I wasn't able to have the best version of me. And I'm still working at it to have the best version. I'm still unpacking the crap, because I feel like it gets easier taking that weight off of your backpack one piece at a time, but you get triggers. You're normal, you're human, things pop up, but are you able to work through it a little bit quicker now? And for me, it's yes, I am able. Am I naive to think it won't happen, not happen again, but triggers something, doesn't trigger me to remind me of a setback or a time in my life or a trauma. But I love what you said about unpacking, and that's so true. And I hope your listeners can really understand the value of really learning to unpack the things that don't serve them, because I know your listeners probably want to become the best version of themselves. And I had a mentor tell me one time, and I've carried it with me, and I love this, but Bob Heilig, he's a professional network marketer. He said, if you can apply 1.3% in personal development each day, which equals, I think I added up like 8 minutes and something seconds. I mean, something so minimal that everybody could do. But if you apply 1.3% of yourself in personal development every day, and 365 days later, you'll be 100% different person. And I was like, holy hell, I want to do that. I want to experience 100%. I didn't know what that would look like. There was so much uncertainty, especially with COVID. Like, I didn't know what to expect. And I wasn't sure as heck going to let COVID or the world falling apart or 50 stop me from creating the last few years or centuries of my life. And I had to unpack all that stuff so I could be the best version of myself, and looking to see what that 100% different person was. So I love that. Spontaneously thought I'd share that with you there.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's true though. Thank you. Because I mean, we appreciate each other's, sentiments, because we've lived it and we've unpacked, we've done the unpacking, whereas a lot of people will go most of their life without actually taking the time to do that. And I think I'll say it over and over again, it's important to keep unpacking it, because you never know what's in there. You'll find more, or you'll find the same thing come up again. You'll be like, oh, I thought I already dealt with you. And then, we've got to work through that again. And it's okay. It's okay. And people say, like, I love what you said about turning the fear of failure into a fear of regret. And I think I really resonate with that as well. It's, we are so scared to do things because we're like, well, what if it doesn't work out? What if it fails? And it's like, well, what if you don't do it? What if you never do it? And, you find yourself on your deathbed and you go, oh, damn, I really wish I did that. That to me is far worse than any quote failure, because in fact, I actually don't believe in failure anymore, because I believe that failure is it's a learning path.
Absolutely. I actually thrive now. I get really excited when I feel fear rising upon me. It's that resistance. It's that tug that makes me go, oh, I don't know if I should do that. I'm like, nope, I'm supposed to do it. And so I now have trained myself to take those steps forward. And I don't say that braggingly, because I mean, heck, I'm 50. I'm just now doing it. So some of these women have learned it at a very early on age. But you know, how long do we want to live with this fear? I know a lot of women that I deal with and talk to, their fear is, you know, their expectations at 48, 50 years old, even in their 40s, their expectations of what they thought their life would be like by now. And I want to be the first one to share, if anybody has thought this during this podcast, it's too late, or what, you know, maybe you're single and didn't have children. I have a couple girlfriends that are in that category, and they're so wrapped up and, well, I didn't have children, I really wanted children. And they're so wrapped up into the expectations that they thought the picket fence and the family, you know, and my go-to is, you know, what God has a different plan for you, but you're not allowing yourself to release and be the best version of yourself and see that plan and see your purpose and passion, because you're still so wrapped up with that stuff that you want to, that's unpacked, that you're holding on, that backpack, you're still holding on to it. And so those expectations fall into that backpack as well, where you've got to remove. I mean, I'm 50, so I could sure as heck go, gosh, I thought my kids would be perfect. I didn't think, you know, heck, I tried to attempt suicide when I was a teenager. I didn't think that I would have a child try to do this as well. You know, there's, you know, and a divorce and, you know, all this stuff happening. Like, you just, you know, do I really want to keep that mentality and that state of mind with me moving forward in my life? And it's a decision that we ultimately have to make. So, and I can go on and on about mindset stuff, because I think to change, there's a really cool quote that I love about changing your thoughts. I have it written here because I wanted to save it, but progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. And that's by George Bernard Shaw. But I love that quote, because the only way that, you know, we all want change, right? We want to become the better version of ourselves, but are you willing to make the sacrifices, and are you willing to make the changes? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? Because it's sure as heck going to be inconvenient too. Yeah. And all those things that fall in place with you changing to being the best version of yourself and unpacking that crap that you've been dealing with is going to take courage. You know, that's why having someone next to you or a coach next to you helping you through that is so powerful. But so much power in making the changes that we want to make.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, there are two sides to that, right? Like, you know, I believe that change is imminent. So resisting it doesn't do us any favor. But then there's also that attached fear to change. It's like, we want to change, but then change is uncomfortable. So then you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, like the best example of that was one of my clients who, she retired, never stepped foot in a gym in her life. So she's 65, she joins a gym, and, you know, by of course, no coincidence, she meets me and starts working with me. And she's doing these exercises, which she's just like, this is incredible. Like, I feel so much sensation and pain, and what is going on here? And muscles are squeezing and all this stuff's going on. And I'm like, you just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And she's like, and then she'll be doing reps of an exercise, you know, and she'll be like, getting comfortable, getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. And she'd like almost, you know, affirm it to herself. And, you know, now 10 years later, we're still in each other's lives. And she's definitely an underestimated human, you know, when she can carry 20 kilo bags of things from the, you know, like the homeware store equivalent here. And people be like, do you need a hand with that, ma'am? And she's like, I got this. And she picks it up, carries it to her car herself. And they're like, what? How's that possible?
I think subconsciously we have this part about us that we underestimate ourselves. You know, you said that she underestimated how much she can lift. And I think we all, even at our level as bikini competitors and as, you know, in that world, but you don't have to be a bikini competitor to get uncomfortable and to have your best body. You know, your best body is your best body. I've had 3 children. So my best body is with the stretch marks, with the things that I don't like to be seen. You know, it comes with all that. And it's harder for me because I have, you know, these flaws, but those flaws define me in my unique way. So, but back to the underestimating, we all subconsciously underestimate ourselves. If we even knew what we're capable of, we would do far more greater things than we could. But we again, quote unquote, we allow ourselves to resist and stay back and stay comfortable. So the number one thing that I always tell my clients is, when you're aware of that right there, when you find yourself going, oh, I don't think I want to do that, that's adding 10 more pounds is way too uncomfortable. It feels hard. But how do you know? Have you even tried adding 2 pounds and then maybe 5 more pounds? Have you attempted, you know, doing the uncomfortable? So it's that underestimating and making yourself aware of it is a good step. And it takes practice for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, I actually enjoy being underestimated now rather than underestimating myself. But obviously,
that's why I love you. That's why I love you. That's why we're connected.
But then there are those moments where, like you were talking about, that retraction, where you feel like you're due for a challenge, like you're due for something new, and you're retracting, and you're like, "Ooh, that seems scary," but then you commit to it, and then it just propels you like into something incredible. And like I was talking about breakdowns, you know, it was a similar thing with me, and I had some, you know, I was diagnosed with PCOS. I was having a whole host of health issues. I could barely walk properly for at least 6 months because I was having repeated ovarian cyst bursts, and it was extremely painful. And then it got to a point where, you know, thank goodness I had the right help, and I got myself back on track. And then someone, you know, sort of just planted a seed and said, well, what's stopping you now? And I was like, well, nothing. And then I just kind of embraced that moment. And I went, you know what? There's a comp in 3 months. I'm going to go like all in on this comp and give it my all. And that was my first taste of building and creating my best version of myself, because I let nothing and no one stand in my way for the first time in my life. And I committed 100%. And even down to that last peak week. So 1 week out from comp, I had an ovarian cyst burst, and I was in so much agony to walk. And people were like, "Oh, well, surely you're not gonna, you know, you're gonna pull the pin on this, aren't you?" And I was like, "Not at all. Like, try and stop me. I will be on that stage in a week's time." And I did, and it was the most rewarding experience, because you fight through what people will believe to be not, you know, even possible. And even with yourself, like, you think, am I going to be able to like walk and pose on stage? Because it is, let me tell you, it's a lot harder than it looks. Okay. Holding a smile and holding poses is a lot harder than it looks. And I'm sure you understand that now. But it was very rewarding to get that taste of like, hey, I can transform my body and change how it looks completely. So it was very incredible.
I call those the cookie jars. Have you heard of David Goggins?
Yes.
He's a hardcore military. He's done so amazing things, best-selling author. I wish I remembered the name of his book. I'd tell you guys to get it. But he thrives on just pushing through and firing through and facing your fears. And he's got this method of the cookie jar method. And just like you were just saying, where you've got these achievements that you put in your cookie jar. And you shift over. I do this a lot with my clients because they've got cookie jars full of stuff. They've got a college degree, or they quit smoking. You know, these little cookie things that you can put in their cookie jar. And then when it comes to their health and fitness and having a, you know, they don't have to have a bikini body, but, you know, if they want their best body, you know, we pull things out of that cookie jar, remind ourselves how damn amazing we are and how freaking capable we are. So that when you don't think you're capable or worthy enough or have the confidence enough, then pull out something from your cookie jar, and you're going to see that, okay, I can shift that same energy into my health. make it a priority, and that's what I'm doing. But I love that, because that's how I felt. I now can put that in my cookie jar. And I love pulling that out, saying, Gina, you stood on that stage and did it. You did it. You wanted to wobble off and be like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, but I can pull that out of my cookie jar now. And I feel like it's just a step towards a better me. And what's next? I don't know, but my book is next. I'm excited about that.
Yes. You read my mind. I was going to ask you about that, because you're writing a book called quite fitting, 50 and Fabulous. Is that correct?
Yes, it's Bold Confidence, 50 and Fabulous. And it's the emphasis of it is going to be you can be fabulous at any age. It just happened to be 50 for me. But if you are in your 40s and you're wanting to be 50 and fabulous, even in your 30s, you want to be 40 and fabulous, I'm providing a 10-step guide on how to be 50 and fabulous, and how you can just feel freaking amazing. Like challenge, and that's another thing, is challenging yourself to do those things, those hard things, whatever that may be for you. But that will be in the book. I'm fingers crossed. I'm hibernating this weekend. Actually, I've rented a hotel here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a couple miles away from my house, so I can complete it and finish it. So it could be released before the end of this year. So I'm super excited about this book.
I'm excited. Sign me up for a pre-order of that book. That's incredible. And, sharing your story and your experience now and putting it into an easily digestible, format. And of course, in a book is wonderful. And I think that that's the beauty of women like you and I. We take our experiences in life and how we've been able to overcome and even, on the back of that, achieve more than we even believe possible. Trying to pack that down and share it with others is really what seems to be both of our missions in life now, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been a time where you and I both felt like we couldn't do it, and we did it. And we know other people can do it too. I hate to be one of those people, if I can do it, you can do it. So I'm not saying that because, but I am saying that it is possible for you if you believe that it's possible for you. And I'm here, and Ria is here to cheer you on. And that's what we love to do. It's just kind of a sick thing. We are so passionate about really seeing other people be successful, and it's kind of a blessing. I'm glad I love that. So yeah.
We're here to inspire and lead by example, which leads me to a question that I ask all my guests, which is, what does summoning your superhuman mean to you, Gina?
What was the first part of it?
Summoning your superhuman mean to you?
Oh, it honestly means bold confidence, even when you don't feel like it. That's as simple as that. I don't have bold confidence as my brand because I have confidence. I have bold confidence in my brand because I need bold confidence. And it's all within me and within you and within your audience. It's all, people, we all already have bold confidence within us. It's a matter of us stepping into it. And really, that's that superhero value that we all have. It's just digging deep enough to go, I really want that. I want to have that bold confidence. Well, then what's stopping you? And step into it. Don't wait for the book to be published or to do your competition or to just, to achieve something. It's not about an accolade. It's just you just being her. So that would be my superhero little advice there for us.
That's beautiful. Stop waiting and start doing. And
step into it. Just go bold, go hard, do it.
She believes in her message so much, guys, that she's got bold confidence tattooed on her forearm. So it's literally her trademark. So please connect with her. All you have to do literally is type in Bold Confidence with Gina and you will find her on all of the social channels. She has a Facebook community group. I'll put all of the links to find Gina in the comments. But I just want to thank you so much, Gina, for your time today and sharing your experiences and your wisdom with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I'm honored.